Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of The Comic Reader. This is a collection of The Comic Reader, an early fanzine from the 1960s, along with On the Drawing Board, again, early 1960s, 1961, 62, all by Dr. Jerry Bales, who died 2006. This has been collected. Now, I don't think it includes every single page. I'm not really certain. However, it includes a lot, and it's really fascinating. However, the front of it does state that you can only show 2 pages at most in a review. So that's what I'm going to do. So anyone wanting to flick through showing all the various pages, it's not going to happen. So here's a preview of 2 of the pages. 2 of the pages in this book, and you can see what it also has, lots of adverts. I will discuss all this as I go through, but you've got scoops as well. Now the quality is really good. I mean, considering that these are like 60 odd years old magazines, they've been sort of cleaned up in places, some places not, I think. They're fairly decent, fairly still easy to read. But I think that this is the trouble with old magazines. It's probably, if you get ones from the 60s and 70s, they're probably sort of spreading out the ink. It wasn't really designed to be permanent. So you got here Fantastic Four number 18, you got Brave and the Bold. You can see the sort of things, but it mentions like Hulk number 1, Fantastic Four. There's a lot of early material in this talking about the various things as they were coming out. So it's really a snapshot of what was happening at that time. So it's just fascinating, absolutely amazing. It's just a pity I can't show more of it. But also I love all the ads and things. But I'm just going to go through now the book and describe as much as possible what's in the book without showing it, because as I said, it does state that it's asked not to show it. So I will honour that. So here it's got like On the Drawing Board 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through to number 7, and that finishes in January 1962. You've got The Comic Reader, then issue 8. Actually, so you've got No Comic Reader number 1, it starts at number 8. Slightly threw me when I first saw that. I thought, where's number 7, 6, etc. But of course that's where it is. On the Drawing Board number 1 was actually an Alter Ego first issue. I would love to see that collection come out as well. Alter Ego would be brilliant, because I think all of those impossible to find. I had one copy of one of the old ones, I think number 9 or something, Gil Kane. Sadly I got rid of. However, I would love to see those. And I am seeing more and more of those sort of collections of old fanzines and things. You've got like punk ones, Sniffing Glue, and quite amazing, those things. However, Comic Reader, and it describes, you've got lots of information as well. So it's not just the magazine itself, but you've actually got sort of pictures as well. There's quite a lot of, it's not, all solid text. There's a lot of photos, but also a lot of history, background to the various things, what was happening. Now, the first ones are clearly On the Drawing Board. This is the first one. It's quite blurry. And maybe that's the trouble. Maybe the early Alter Ego probably is very blurry now. I don't know. But this one is very blurry. But it's talking about like Flash 121. That was the Flash Trickster rematch, etc. And it's got back Green Lantern 7, Justice League of America number 5. So it's discussing that. Also, it's talking about a 25 cents book here. And also mentions, because All-Star Comics comes up quite a lot. Obviously, they loved All-Star Comics. But you've got some great photos. You've got a lovely photo of Roy Thomas, really great reading All-Star Comics. Got a secret code chart as well. Wow. However, I love also the wanted lists, as well as the, of course, for sale. Sometimes prices, of course, amazingly low. But some of these were only 10, 20 years before. I mean, if you start thinking like that, that's 2000. So, I mean, you don't expect them to be hugely expensive, and they're not. They're not really that expensive. It's also got mentioned like Fantastic Four for issue 1. And it says here about the first issue. Yeah, I love this bit here about the Stan Lee and Jack Kirby have teamed up to give us Fantastic Four. That's just great to read. And it's sort of talking about Plastic Man type. And of course it says here, the lovable thing. And it says Ugh next to it. So obviously not so. However, it's also great because it's got some letters as well here talking about various treatments. As for the future, we'll have costumes, a different treatment of the Torch. That's interesting. I must admit, of course, Torch did change. Additional new characters in months to come. Don't be too surprised about Submariner. And Or Captain America, who knows? So that was interesting they put back Captain America. You think maybe they would have had Captain America coming along at Fantastic Four time, issue 4 or 5 of Fantastic Four. I guess there's no reason why not, because of course that's what they wanted initially, a Captain America / Submariner / Human Torch. But still, talks about here about amazing adult fantasy. We'll think it's a smash. That's from Stan Lee, of course. And all the other things, talking about Green Lantern, talking about other announcements, just all the way through it. Letters from various people. It's just brilliant. And also about Hulk. You've got here Hulk #1. And I love the fact that you've never seen anyone like the Hulk. And apparently comments were not so good. Lots of fans obviously were not so keen on it. Of course, it only lasted 6 issues. And of course, that's, if you can see that, see, it did have a second chance later on. But it's just full. And I love this photo, this one. Ed Laughman, I don't know how. Born in 1930, unbelievable him. Ed was a first generation comic book fan. He's just showing off all these various comics. And unfortunately, the picture's quite sort of hard to see, but it's got Famous Funnies #1, one of the first comic books ever. I guess it's not really, because of course now it's been stretched back to the 1890s. But however, you got Fantastic Four yarn as well mentioned. This is in the comic reader, #9. And The Prisoner of Kurgo, the Scourge of the Planet X. Always great to. Oh, also about things like the index to All-Star Comics. And there's also mention of like index of DC Comics. That would be brilliant to get a proper. I love those ones. I've never got an index of DC Comics. I've always only had the Marvel indexes and timely indexes, but never one of really. There's so many DC Comics that I probably know very little about. However, even better, there's auctions in here as well. I just love it. Just brilliant. You've got loads of other mentions of various books. And the comic reading, you've got more information like about Thor. Here, Thor, in case you're wondering, plots the adventures, scripts are penned by Larry Lieber. And Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers to team up to handle the art. Another blurry page. But again, this is the trouble. These old fanzines, they were, I guess, blurry. I don't, unfortunately, I've got no vast amounts of examples. The ones I've got are actually not too bad from the 70s. I haven't got any 60s ones. So I don't know if they've sort of really, because I suppose it depends on sort of the process that was used. Maybe they've gone really bad, some of them. I don't know. But this one here, another index about All-Star Comics, just brilliant. There's lots of mentions of Golden Age. I think this book is just awesome. I mean, I can only say the word awesome. If you're a comic book fan who's really into the early history of comics, certainly the 60s anyway, this book is just going to be brilliant. You're just going to love reading all about it. I love this. Stan Lee is introducing a new character into Tales of Suspense. I wonder what happened to him. Yes, this goes on sale December the 10th. Watch for it, it says here. Also mentions here Sergeant Fury. Weirdly, Sergeant, not SG2 or anything. Sergeant Fury. And just mentioned here, #1. Absolutely brilliant. And just page after page of just comic book history. This book is just absolutely amazing. And also got lots of ads as well for things. Captain Marvel 55, just $1.50. I don't know. The trouble is when you look back at these books, you think, oh, that doesn't sound much. Because, of course, you're comparing $1 now. But then, of course, it might have been quite a bit. I don't know. Talks about fanzines also available. Superhero One, The Comic World, Comic Scope, Comics Illustrated. Again, would be brilliant if all these were in collections. I would love to see all this sort of stuff. It's just absolutely great. And the Burroughs Bulletin. And also for sale, lots of things like scrapbooks. People obviously doing scrapbook of the San Francisco Examiner. Ones with 300 clippings of Believe It or Not. And also many others as well. Oh, photo offset reproduction, it says here, for Alter Ego. What else has it got? Just pay. I love this bit here. Coming in July, The Avengers. And I love it says, new magazine starring Ant-Man, Thor, Iron Man, and the Hulk. What about the Wasp? What happened to her? Poor old Wasp. She was forgotten about. Mildly terrific. It may be. It was, I think. The Fantastic Four annual as well. And it mentions here about Super Skrull, backed by popular demand. Was he backed by popular demand? Who knows? Maybe the Super Skrull meant the Skrulls were backed by popular demand. I don't know. I think that was the first appearance of the Super Skrull, wasn't it? However, Atomate, Venture 311. I love this. Legion of Superheroes. Great. Brain Boy. I love that. And the thing is, this is another thing. It's not just DC. A lot of DC mentioned, of course, JLA, JSA. But there's also a lot of other things like Brain Boy. I'm not certain which one that was in. Mandrake the Magician, Phantom, Prince Valiant, Red book, I should say. And also loads of other ones. I mean, it's just literally for... Again, you also got all the... I like the Hulk as a separate comic. Oh, interesting. Marvel Stories. Oh, that's interesting. Marvel Stories, an 80-page comic featuring the Fantastic Four, Thor, Spider-Man and other heroes, including some new ones, is being considered at this time. It doesn't say it's a reprint. I wonder if there was a thought about Marvel Stories as a sort of an anthology book that just had stories that were obviously new ones. I don't know. I'm just guessing from that reference. It just seems... There's also a mention, of course, of the X-Men, a new mag. Superheroes, yes, but with a different twist. Aha. Jack Kirby did not create Captain Marvel, but they did do the first issue of Captain Marvel. Always amazes me. Jack Kirby doing that. Just, wow. I remember reading that. I thought, that's just incredible. As a romantic Thor. It's just great. Just reading. It's near enough like... I love the... Marvel bullet point, the comic book checklists and things that they always put the thing. So this is near enough the equivalent. It's just literally lists of things. Absolutely fascinating. Oh, this one, the revised edition of, again, I'm sorry I'm not showing it, but that's the complete EC checklist. And it's got here 120 treasure pack pages. I didn't realise it was 120 pages. Wow. $1.50. That was, now I think that is super collectible. You just cannot, but I mean, quite often I'm looking on the EC on the Facebook and people love that book, the EC checklist. I don't understand really because of course there's much better checklist now, but of course it's just the historical aspect of it, just fascinating. And also DC Want List, and it's got here a list of obviously action number 1. And of course at that time it was still only 20 years before. So you could sort of conceivably think Marvel Mystery issue 1 to 22, you could conceivably buy those. You find them in a sort of old store out in the middle of nowhere or in someone's, cellar or something. And you just think, now you would never find those in the UK. Just probably would never have happened because it just never got to the UK properly. Very limited numbers. But you've got here more lists of things. These ones, all winners number 1. Just list it after. This book is just incredible. Absolutely. It's got, like I say, lots of information. Again, you've got another one here. All Flash, number 10, $4. You think, wow. You've got here More Fun, the Green Lantern, 105. Was that near? That might near enough be a very early one. And that was $2.50. Superman number 5. Superman number 5. 50 cents. 50 cents. You can imagine buying it for 50 cents now. That would be just amazing. Must have been a really bad quality one. It doesn't say, unfortunately. That is I love it. This is just joy reading. And this one as well. I don't know. I don't understand this. I don't know what NC means. No cover, I assume. And 50 cents for Human Torch number 2. Human Torch number 2. I'd buy it for 50 cents any time. 25p. Yep. That's going to be part of my collection. But it's just full of Secrets of Comics by Stan Lee. And also there's other ones. Fantasy Illustrated. I don't remember that one. No, I don't remember that at all. Bill Spicer, apparently. And it's just like literally, this is a complete history of the early 60s comics. It's just absolutely page after page after page. All that Gold Key, comic strips about the various Brain Boy is dead. Oh dear, poor old Brain Boy didn't last. Comic lasted less than 2 years. Oh well, that didn't last very long. And also like Lois Lane, Superboy, Batman, lots of, and also of course Spider-Man. Spider-Man number 1 talking about the Sinister Six. And 2 new villains, Mysterio and Kraven. Hang on, they weren't new, were they at the time? I thought they'd appeared in the comics before so they couldn't have been new. Anyway, they're new, I suppose, to most people. I suppose at that time they were new. However, up-and-coming Marvel Tale issues. 80 page. Was it 80 page? Wow. 25 cents. Will contain only origins, new ones or old ones. So it shows that suddenly it changed from what it was going to be. I think it would have been nice to have had that one. Pity they didn't do that. However, it also got here about the Academy of Comic Book Fans and Collectors, $2 membership. You get a copy of Who's Who in comic fandom. I mean, just trade lists. Again, this is just brilliant. I don't know. This one, Action number 2 and trade list. Flash number 1 and 3 will trade. Items are in mint. All are in fine or better. Almost, Wanted. Once All-Star 1 to 24, 33 to 38. Yeah. It's just, and also it's got a list at the back of all the various. Oh, it's just great. I absolutely love it. Well, you can get it on Amazon. I assume it elsewhere maybe, but certainly on Amazon. Really, really, really worth checking out. If you'd like any interest in the history of comics, this book is just an absolute joy. I'm going to spend many hours reading through this. I think I will absolutely love this. It's just fascinating. And I wish more would come out like this. There must be many other fanzines. I think there was a Batmania or something, whatever it was called. And also Alter Ego, of course. I love that picture on the back as well. Look at that. Of Dr. Jerry Bales. And he's obviously, I don't know what Marvel that one is, Marvel Comics, but I'm not certain. Must be a very early one, I'm certain. But he's also reading, obviously, another comic there. He's got a couple other sort of Human Torch. I can see Human Torch on the cover. And you've got Marvel, got a pile of Marvels there. And wow. This is just brilliant. I love it. Absolutely. It was recommended to me. I'm really thankful it was. I didn't know about it, I must admit. Sort of tucked away suddenly. And maybe that's why maybe there's other ones that have been like this that have come out. I mean, I hope so, because I will definitely be happy to purchase these sort of books anytime. Any fanzine ones like this, brilliant. So, The Comic Reader by Dr. Jerry Bales. Absolutely stunningly amazing book.